Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Fourth and Dream podcast. It is me, your host, Red, with my co host, The Commish. We're a little late this week. I'll get
Life
it out
got
of the
in the
way.
way.
I'll get
Yeah.
it out of the way. This is 100% my fault. So I apologize to Masturbator.
Hey man, it's everybody's fault, dude. Like,
Well,
we all got stuff going on.
there's
We're
two
busy.
reasons why I want to apologize, though, to Masturbator, and I haven't had a chance to tell you this, okay? The first reason why I'm going to apologize to Masturbator is because he is our biggest fan. Okay? The second reason why I want to apologize is because he took it upon himself to send the Fourth and a Dream podcast a button. He did.
Oh
It
man.
came in the mail on Saturday, but being the asshole that I am, I have not had a chance to get it going.
Uh-oh.
I will pay everybody's league dues next season if it is not on our Week 11 pick video. Clip it, ship it. And I've got one day off this week, but I'm going to make sure that it's done. So with that being said, welcome to fucking Week 10.
I mean, I don't know about the other 10 GMs in this league, but I'm really looking forward to playing for free next season already.
I quite possibly could regret that.
Yeah, well, I mean, at this point I can't save you, man. I'm just standing on the shore, just going like this.
How ironic would it be, though, if I paid everybody's league dues and then won next season? That would be kind of funny.
Hey, man, like more power to you, brother.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
always, I'm always looking for somebody else to win the league besides Eric.
Fair. Fair. So what do we got this week, man? Before we get into the Week 9 recap, or do you want to do the Week 9 recap first? You got any?
I'll tell you what, man. Shoot through the week 9 recap real quick.
Okay.
Give us our winners, and we'll talk about what's been going down since last time you and I talked.
All right. I'm going to fire these off.
Yep.
Okay. You just sit there and look pretty.
Got you.
All right. Without further ado, Week 9 recap. Friday morning oil change versus Snitches Get Stitches. Friday morning oil change pulls off the dub 88-67. Sorry, Mr. Clayton. Nice matchup as always. Moving on, we got Tropic Thunder, Ass and TDs. Tropic Thunder picking up a little bit of steam, 99-69 over Ass and TDs. Running backs continue to be a thorn in Ass and TD's side. Moving on from that, we got Smoke and Joe and Iron Smoke, Battle of the Smoke. Tight contest. Iron Smoke pulls off the W, 92-82. Thanks in large part to Rashad White from Tampa Bay.
Didn't
Crazy.
see that coming.
Did not. Moving on, we have the Battle of the Secret Society and the Friendly Neighborhood Pirate, Jolly Roger and Miyagi Illuminati. This was a close one. Potentially the game of the week. Miyagi, like always, when you count him out, he just pulls off a win. 97-93, sinking the ship. Moving on from that, we got Baby Billy's Bible Bonkers and the ATLians. I could talk about this for an hour and a half, but I'm going to leave it at about 7 seconds. The commish got smoked by 60. Might need to start a GoFundMe for therapy for you.
Nah, no therapy. The Jolly Roger and I actually got a tea time scheduled for 1:00 on Sunday. So
Actual tea time?
you didn't get the invite?
Why would I?
No actual tea time, man. Like you got two teams that got a less than 15% of making the playoffs. Not saying we're giving up, but I
Oh, we
mean
got to move on to week 10.
we're pretty damn close, bro.
I did not know that. All right. With that being said, 5-star matchup: masturbator and wine receiver. Barn burner. Wine receiver 113 over masturbator. Masturbator puts up a respectable 72.8 points. Will Levis was not the play, my friend. Will Levis was not the play. CJ Stroud almost putting up a 50 spot.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Isn't that terrifying?
I mean, I've had it happen to me. I've done it to people, and I've also had it on my bench. So yes, yes, and yes.
I mean, but just looking at that roster top to bottom, and the QB1 that she drafted he's hurt right now. I mean, isn't that a good problem to have right now? CJ Stroud and Justin Fields paired with that lineup.
Good problem to have.
Yeah.
Good problem to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So before we move on to week 10, right? We had to get the week 9 stuff out of the way. Is there anything that the commish would like to address or talk about this week?
Yeah, man. Let's just talk about what's kind of transpired over the last week. And I guess we'll start with another league that I play in. And I don't want to talk about necessarily the details of it per se, but let me ask you this, man. What is your overall opinion right now regarding trades in fantasy football? And I guess let me back up real quick and say, of all the leagues that you play in, do you have one in particular that seems like the volume of trades is kind of on the high side? Or would you think for the most part you're probably looking at a couple transactions a season?
So I have quite a bit that I could say about this, right? I'll try to give you a Reader's Digest version of that. So I played in another league that I was in for many years, like this one, right?
Okay.
With people in the industry, right, that I'm in, the automotive industry.
Sure.
And it was always ran. It was ran by an old high school friend of mine, and it always seemed every year that a team that was doing very, very bad would dump a bunch of players to a certain team.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a money league. Okay, this wasn't a play for fun league. This was a money league.
Okay.
And I no longer play in that league because of that.
Okay.
Right. With that being said, the current landscape, I believe that people that want to make a fair trade don't, because they're scared to make a trade, myself included, right?
Okay. Okay.
And then you see other trades where people trade for less than average players for 2 or 3 good players.
Okay.
And I don't really understand that either, right? I believe a trade should be centralized around maybe a good and a bad for a good and a bad, right? To help at a certain position. But I'm not a fan of one-sided trades.
Okay. That's a fair assessment.
But it's also fantasy. So
okay.
What are you going to do?
Well, and because we don't want to just sit here and agree in lockstep, and we're trying to have like a constructive conversation about this, right? The point I'd like to make is, just because what valuation that you have in your mind on what a player is worth may not necessarily equate to another GM's valuation of what said player is worth.
That's
And
fair.
what you'll and like I said, this is all my take, is the problem that I see that people run into a lot is they want to hold on so much to what either the initial draft value of said person is, or they're like, oh, hey, I've got this guy with major name value. You know what I mean? I mean, I could probably sit here and I feel like I'm being beyond honest with you. I would say almost, I feel like 80% of the deals that I've made over my entire fantasy tenure, when I look back at the end of the year, I really have to take a long and hard look at what I did and go, did I even win this deal?
Yeah.
Because you know, I see people get so just enraged about what's on the surface, and at the end of the day, there's no guarantee that that guy pans out. Like, people would have a complete meltdown about what's happening in that very moment regarding the trade. But if the perceived superstar in the deal goes out and blows his ACL out, or you know gets traded to another team where he's not the one, all of a sudden everyone's like, oh yeah, that's cool,
Right.
you know. So I, I guess we had a situation, and I'll use the players' names, right? And this is the deal that we saw go. This is the deal that I saw go down this week in another league, and it just had everybody just all kinds of hot and bothered, right? You had the kicker for the Falcons, who, okay, got traded straight up for Jahmyr Gibbs, and people were just like, people were losing their minds, you know. And on the surface, I could see why. But then on the flip side, I'm like, well, right now, who's got more points overall in the season than Gibbs does? And David Montgomery's coming back this week. Has anybody talked to Dan Campbell and been like, hey man, what's the split going to be with Montgomery coming back? I haven't. So like I said, man, I totally get and understand when people see things on the surface and they're like, hey, this ain't fair, this ain't fair, this ain't fair. But, my stance has always been, you've paid your money. I've paid my money. Let people manage their teams how they want to manage it. If
That's
you
fair.
got somebody else going, hey man, like, you can't make that deal, I mean, am I out of line to sit here and say, all right, baby, like, here's the keys to my finances. You tell me how I spend my money.
Yeah. I agree. I see both sides of it. Man.
I mean, to me, like, a good solution would be like, hey, you know what? You want to make you do all the trades you want to do? Let's say like week 6 is the trade deadline, or week 8's the trade deadline. Like, I don't care who you are, man. You're not going to be like, you can put the best team together on paper, dude. If that team stays intact for like the remaining 7, 8, 9 weeks of the season, then you know what? Your team probably stayed healthier than anybody else's, and the likelihood of you winning the whole thing is probably going to be through the roof. Because
Absolutely.
you can put the best roster on paper together all day long. If Lady Luck and the injury bug are not, if they're against you, you ain't winning shit, man. So that's my stance on trades.
Did you trade who for Jahmyr Gibbs?
Did I? No. Mm-mm.
Oh, it'd be funny.
I mean, I was and here's the thing, man, is like, now I'll send you this, right? And this is what I enjoyed. The comment that was made to me, because I was, pretty much what I said here. I don't want to say I completely regurgitated it on the group chat, but I was like, hey man, People pay their money, let them manage their teams how they want to do it. Like, shit doesn't bother me. Cool. They made a deal. I was happy to see that other people in the league just decided to engage in conversation and put a deal in place. Sweet, man. And you know what somebody told me? They're like, man, if you don't like how this is run, why don't you go start your own league and run it how you want to run it? And you know what my response was? I said, thanks for the advice, man. We're currently in year 17, baby.
By the way, check out the 400 Dream podcast.
Let's get it.
You know, another thing about trades, I don't want to be on a soapbox all night, right? And we don't
Sure,
need
hey,
a,
man,
we
but
don't need
hey,
a 40-minute video, but I agree with you. So I'm not Republican or Democrat here, right? I'm not picking a side,
sure.
right? I agree that it's their money and you can do whatever you want, but I also agree where you're like, dude, that's fucking bullshit. I get both sides, right? I think what really gets me, like, and I think this should be a no-no. I don't think this should be something that it's a non-negotiable for me.
Sure.
If you have a team that is out of contention,
Mhm.
that's got some studs, right?
Mhm.
And when I mean out of contention, I don't mean 4 and 5, right? I don't mean 3 and 6. I mean 1 and 7.
Okay.
Okay. And you got a team that's 7 and 1.
Mm-hmm.
And that team that's 1 and 7 unloads their studs for bench players. That should be a non-negotiable. That is not sportsmanlike.
Sure.
It's dog shit, and there's no room for it.
Gotcha.
You know, that I don't think is a negotiable.
Sure.
I think that's a fucking coup. Kind of like trading coup for Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm joking. See what I did there? Anyways.
I did.
All right.
Well, that was good, man. I enjoyed that. You ready to roll to week 10 or
enough
what?
of that shit, you know. We all know Eric's a snake. No, I'm just kidding. Or are we?
Hey, man, listen. You're never going to know unless you send the offer out. You know what I
Dude,
mean?
I still don't know how that man does it every year. And I'm not even talking about trades right now. Like, the guy makes a team out of nothing. He is the fucking fantasy Illuminati. Kudos to him. I'm sure he'll be on the podcast soon. Speaking of podcast, in special guests, Master Bader also did say that he will make an appearance this season.
So, dude.
So I am going to go ahead and say that right now.
Say less.
It's recorded.
Oh, Lord.
I forgot to mention that. That was a 3-piece in a biscuit earlier, not a 2-piece in a biscuit. That was a 3-piece. My apologies for forgetting that. Moving on, though.
Dude, that's like dropping a bomb right now on this thing.
I mean, we're trying to keep people engaged, and we're about a little bit over halfway into this video, and we're going to see how many people are really engaged.
Dude,
Okay?
shit, are we trending right now?
I'm going to need a 69 in the comments if you just heard me say that Master Bader is going to be live and in person on this podcast. When, I don't know, but it's going to be in the year of 2023.
Damn.
Moving on.
All right.
Are you ready to lay the hammer on week 10, dude?
Yeah, I tell you what, man. Let's do this thing. Let's get to week 10.
And it's funny because as we record, the Thursday night games have started, and points are accumulating on teams. So let's try to get this done quick before we make an ill-informed decision. Okay.
All right.
Moving on, we got week 10 snitches versus stitches versus ass and TDs. Kamish, fire away.
Lord of mercy. As you know, our boy Snitches Get Stitches was a little active this week on the trade block. So,
didn't notice.
He's got a new look lineup right now. Kyler Murray's going to be interesting this week. He's getting his first start, coming back. He's going to be at home against the Falcons, man. And I don't know if they've given the word yet on James Conner, but if he's going to be a go, all of a sudden you've got your starting quarterbacks making his return. RB1's going to be back. And, they got Hollywood Brown and they got Michael Wilson and they've got that young stud tight end now that's starting to come on out in Arizona. I'm not sitting here saying that the Cardinals are getting ready to make a push for the division, man, but I mean, I feel like they'll be at least a little bit more competent than they already are. On the flip side, for Aston TDs, man, I think the one guy I'm looking at in that lineup that I'm hoping is going to start getting going is going to be Tony Pollard. He's going up against the Giants this week at home. Dude, they're a 16.5-point favorite. I mean, listen, if Pollard doesn't get it going this week, he ain't getting it going at all this season. So I tell you what, I'm going to ride with Bill's Mafia president this week, man. And I'm going to take Aston TDs. I'm going to say she's going to be going away this weekend, man. I'll say by 13.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there, man. Josh Allen against Denver, that's going to be big. Yeah, if Tony Pollard doesn't get it going against the Giants, dude, like that might have been one of the top 10 flops in fantasy that I've seen in a while. Debo's back playing against the Jaguars, and we have Antonio Brown 2.0 possibly in Pittsburgh.
George Pickens, baby.
Yeah, playing against the Packers. I like her matchups this week. I don't think Kyler Murray's it. Don't like him. Never have. Never will. Give me ass and TDs by 7. So it's not you and Jolly Roger this week.
No.
Different.
We got the JR and Iron Smoke.
Yeah, you got me messed up with that tea time. You're going to have to let me know what the hell that meant. Anyways, Jolly Roger, Iron Smoke.
Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
So we will start on let's start on the Iron Smoke side, man. All right. Did Najee Harris like all of a sudden get it going a little bit last week?
It looked that way. 2
Man,
tutties.
he's gonna be at home going up against the Packers, man. And I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, Pittsburgh's 5-3, dude. And they got that defense that's gonna have love. He's gonna be under duress all game. TJ Watt is he's unreal, dude.
Yeah.
So I feel like Pittsburgh's gonna be ahead. They're gonna be leaning on the run. Hopefully for my sake, Jalen Warren gets sprinkled in. But I'd like Najee to continue to start. To get it going. DK Metcalf, dude. It was rough last week, man. I mean, they got smacked by Baltimore. I mean, he got completely erased. And he's going up against the Manders. I mean, I know he's been dealing with a little bit of an injury. I mean, if he goes, you got to think they're going to try to get him going. And I mean but if he's maybe say less than 80%, man, it could be a Tyler Lockett game. Herbert's going to be going up against Dan Campbell in his neck. Yeah. And all right. So, Iron Smoke is a slight favorite, and the JR has been pretty open about getting ready to head to the golf course. So, if there's one matchup on his side of the ball that might be worth being interesting here, man, it's what's Dobbs going to do with his follow-up. I mean, Dobbs had the strong game last week in his first game against Minnesota or with Minnesota, even though apparently he literally knew nothing of the playbook. So now that he's probably got 4 or 5 plays under his belt, man, maybe it translates. I mean, if he's able to hit Alexander Madison for a touchdown pass, he might be in good shape. But I tell you what, I'm going Iron Smoke this week.
Yeah. Not so fast. I'm not going to bet against my boy this week.
All right.
I like the Josh Dobbs pickup. Um, I think he just kind of fits what Minnesota needs right now. And maybe it was just a one game thing. But I am interested to see what Jahmyr Gibbs does do with David Montgomery coming back. No, I'm just kidding. Iron Smoke.
Ah.
Yeah, Iron Smoke.
All right.
By one
Iron
point by
Smoke.
1.5.
All right.
Had to hit the switch on him. Sorry.
There you go.
Yeah,
All right. So we got what? Baby Billy, Bible Bunkers, and Tropic Thunder.
we do. Battle of the Brethren.
All right, man. I'll start on my brother-in-law's side of the ball here. He's got CMC coming back this week off a bye. He's going to be fresh. He had a big game against Jacksonville. I mean, I know it's not a conference game or a divisional game, man, but you got to think San Francisco and Jacksonville are probably going to be poised for a late playoff run. So this might be one of those like playoff type atmosphere games. So, maybe Jacksonville can slow CMC down just a little. Doubtful. I mean, the game is on the East Coast. I tell you what, man, Chris Olave, he's been causing headaches for fantasy managers all season long. And I'm just scared to death that like this is gonna be the week that him and Derek Carr went out and played frisbee golf and like got it all ironed out. So and dude, my team hasn't scored over 70 points in 2 weeks. Lamar and Mark Andrews are going to be at home against the Browns, and you would think just the way the Browns defense has been playing this season, you're looking at like a 13-10 contest. So I'm going to sit here and pick Tropic Thunder to get the win. And now that I've done that, I'm sure the Ravens will go out and beat Cleveland 45-10.
Oh man.
I'll just say it. I'm on the golf course.
Your matchups aren't bad.
I feel like they haven't been bad all season.
No, not really. There's firepower on both sides of this one, man. Um, depending on how many touches Jalen Warren gets versus Najee Harris, if Jalen Warren was a starting running back in Pittsburgh, I would say that you might have the upper hand in the running back department. Not big on Deontay Foreman. I'm going to go ahead and be a little weird here, and I'm going to say this is going to come down to the battle of the tight ends. Okay? I'm going to wash everything else away that I see, and I'm going to look at Mark Andrews against Cleveland, and I'm going to look at Sam Laporta against the Chargers. And because of that, I'm going to 100% agree with your pick. Tropic Thunder by 6. Moving on. Friday morning oil change and AT Aliens. Nice little friendly matchup.
I mean, you got one team at 6-3. You got one team at 4-5. They've both as of late have been trending in the right direction. There is something glaring that I'm seeing right now on your side of the ball, and it's the fact that the Eagles are on a bye. That's no bueno.
It's not.
I believe the AT Aliens has gone north of 120 in 2 consecutive weeks, and it looks like to me you're showing up to a gunfight with a slingshot. So I'm going AT Aliens this week. Big.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get the Le Bote Grande this week, but I could see a 128-68 here.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's not
Yeah,
looking
Mister.
good at the FMOC camp this week, but
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Mister Auto Draft is about to yeah.
come back with a little bit of a vengeance for all the shit that I
Yeah.
have talked all season. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not looking good for me, bud.
Oh, by the way, speaking of auto draft, man, I got a pretty disturbing text a couple days ago from the Jolly Roger, and he said he's a lock to auto draft next season. I don't know what all that means, but
Poor guy.
hey, who we got? Who we got up next, man?
We got Smokin' Joe and Wine Receiver.
I tell you what, man, I wanted to think long and hard about this matchup because I thought this one right here, man, had some pretty decent potential to be 5-star worthy this week. On the wide receiver side of the ball, man, she's got Mostert that's on a bye, and she's got tight end number 1 on a bye this week as well. But I mean, she's still got the rest of that lineup, man, and you got to think Cincinnati is going to be playing ahead against Houston, and Stroud's going to have to be throwing the ball to play catch up, man. I like her matchups across the board on who she has in her starting lineup. The freaking Broncos and the Bills are going to be on Monday Night Football. That game's going to be up in Buffalo. You got to figure Diggs is going to be getting peppered with the football. And on the flip side for Smoking Joe, man, Travis Etienne's been his bell cow this season, and he's going up against the Niners. So, I mean, if he doesn't get a superhuman performance from him, you're not necessarily sure what Montgomery's going to do coming back off the injury. I like wide receiver this week, even though she has a couple of her key cogs on a bye. Probably going to be a little bit lower scoring and close, but I'll go with Mrs. Commish.
Yeah, over on the Smokin' Joe side, I mean, like you said, Travis Etienne going against San Francisco, it's arguably one of the best front seven in the NFL, and they just got Chase Young too. So, he's not a bad football player. I'm going to take my best interests into play with this pick, and I'm going to root for Smokin' Joe this week. Just so I could try to stay at the same pace as wide receiver, while I take a nice big fat L. I think this is going to be a close one, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick Smokin' Joe by 2 points. Yeah.
All right.
On the heels of Justin Tucker's fabulous calf. 5-star time.
5-star time.
This man's in the 5-star. Got a button for the podcast, and I don't have it hooked up, dude. What a piece of shit I am, huh?
You had one job this week, dude.
Yeah, and I didn't do it.
So we got what? The Miyagi Illuminati taking on Fourth in the Dreams #1 fan, the Master Bader. Man.
We do.
I'll tell you what, man. I'll start on the Bader side of the ball. Aaron Jones came back last week. He found pay dirt. He looked like he's getting close to being back to the old Aaron Jones. Unfortunately, he's going to be on the road against the Steel Curtain this week. I tell you, CeeDee Lamb has been having a great season, and he's got a plus matchup against the Giants. And the only thing that concerns me about the offensive players for Dallas this week is if they do get to this just huge lead, if the passing game hasn't gotten theirs, say by maybe like midway through the third quarter, there's a real chance that you might see like Dak get shut down, CeeDee Lamb get shut down, hell, maybe even Pollard. But that would be my big concern. On the flip side, for the Illuminati, Joe Burrow has started to It seems like he's starting to get that ball rolling over the last couple weeks. The calf injury, knock on wood, seems to be behind him. And the Illuminati, did Illuminati things this week and was able to facilitate a deal. He's got, Kittle's he's so hit or miss. Kittle can get you, he can get you a half a point on the week and he can drop a 30 spot.
Yep.
I just feel like there's really no in between with Kittle, man. And your boy Ramondre, he's been I feel like he's been quietly getting it going. But they're going up against the Colts this week. That game's over in Germany, right?
It is.
Did I hear a nasty rumor earlier this week that if the Patriots lose, man, is Bill getting left in Germany? Did I hear that?
I hope so.
Okay. All right. Well, I tell you what, man.
Speaking of Bill, did you see Bill walking out of his bodega?
That was a nice video. Doing the old walk of shame, it looked like, or something like that.
Old cone titty having ass.
All right. Anyway, sidebar over, man. I tell you, appreciate the button this week. Hopefully, it doesn't get set up for next week, so we're all playing for free. But I'll go with the magician, man. Give me the Miyagi Illuminati by 1.5 points this week.
So I'm going to be biased with this pick. Just like I said in the last one, I'm rooting for people in the other division this week, right? Because I have pretty much a guaranteed L being handed to me this week, okay? Unless half of Doug's team dies.
Yeah, we're not putting that out in the universe.
Right. I'm gonna lose, okay? Maybe Jonathan Taylor and his luggage get lost on the way to Germany.
Okay? There you go. That's a better one.
Yeah, I can't edit it out because I'm not that smart. I'm sorry, YouTube.
Yeah.
But man, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna root. I'm gonna root for the old masturbator this week. I need him to pull a trick out of his bag, and I need to walk away, being 6-4, like Miyagi and wine receiver hopefully are at the end of this week. Okay.
There you go.
I'm trying to keep pace because week 11, I have a feeling that the doors are going to come off for me. I got no more buys. I have nothing to worry about. It's time to go. So, with that being said, Miyagi's going to win because that's what happens always to me. So Miyagi is probably going to win by like 479 points. But for the sake of me looking like a total asshole, let's go ahead and say that Miyagi wins by 12 this week.
There you go.
And I didn't mean the dead thing. Can't take me anywhere, Kamish.
Yeah, I know.
Can't take me
But that
anywhere.
was fun, man. That was fun. You ready to put a bow on this?
I've been ready to put a bow on it for quite some time, sir. I am exhausted.
There you go.
I have driven 1,000 miles in 6 days. I don't know if that's a lot for some people, but for me, it's a lot.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. Let's go ahead and shut this bad boy down. You go ahead and get your face mask on and get your sleep mask ready to rock and roll, dude. And you get yourself some shut eye there, brother.
Appreciate that, man. I hope everybody has a good weekend. Dude, Turkey Day's around the corner too. 2 weeks till Turkey Day. Maybe we can get you like a special hat or something for the podcast.
We'll get something figured out, man.
Yeah.
I know we'll definitely have a guest that week. We'll definitely get a guest lined up for Turkey Day, man.
You heading home?
Oh, I'll be at the Tropic Thunder camp during Turkey Day, man. So I'll be around a handful of these league mates, man. I'd love to just set them all down in a line, man, and have the whole damn crew on here, but
I mean, I can bring the laptop.
I got a feeling it's probably going to be Tropic Thunder that week. So, yeah, we can only hope.
And we're worried about what I said.
Yeah, right.
All right, guys.
We'll see y'all next week.
Have a good one.